Okay, let's talk about the shortcut. The one everyone's looking for. The hack, the trick, that secret formula that's going to magically close the gap between where you are right now and where you desperately want to be. You've probably spent hours, maybe even years, searching for it. And I mean, be honest with yourself for a second. How many videos have you watched? How many articles have you skimmed through? How many of those podcasts have you saved for later? You're just consuming this endless stream of content about productivity, success, and optimization. But let me ask you, what is actually changing? Let's just be real. This is the trap, isn't it? The planning itself becomes the point. The learning becomes this comfortable shield. You keep telling yourself, oh, I just need the right strategy, and then I'll start. But then is a fantasy. It's a place on the map that never, ever arrives. This right here, this exposes a really brutal self-deception. See, on the left, that's your perception. Your brain feels busy, you feel like you're learning, you think you're making progress. But on the right, well, that's the reality. You're on a treadmill, running in place. Thinking feels like progress, but without action, it's just a very sophisticated form of procrastination. You're not optimizing, you're avoiding. So here it is. This is the truth you've been avoiding. The secret you're searching for isn't hidden in some book or video. It's been staring you right in the face this whole time, disguised as the one thing you've been running from: discipline. It's not sexy, it's not some viral hack. But you know what? It works every single time. But here's the thing about avoiding it. It has a price. In fact, both paths, the one with discipline and the one without, they both have a cost. So the real question is, which price are you actually willing to pay? Think about it like this. Discipline costs you your comfort, but only for a moment. A lack of discipline, though, that costs you your future. It's like a debt that just compounds in the dark, and it shows up years later as a life you don't even recognize. The story of the business philosopher Jim Rohn perfectly illustrates this choice. So at 25 years old, Jim Rohn was, by his own admission, a total failure. He was in debt, stuck in a dead-end job, and just felt like all his potential was being wasted. And you know what he was doing? He was blaming everything and everyone. But then he went to a lecture that completely changed his life, not because of some secret formula, but because of one simple, incredibly powerful idea. And this is the pivot. Schoaf basically handed Rohn back all the power he'd been giving away. The problem wasn't out there, the economy, his boss, his bad luck. The problem was in here. It was in his daily choices, his habits, his personal philosophy. And this idea became Rohn's core message to the entire world. You don't get to choose if you experience pain. You only get to choose which kind. The person who chooses discipline suffers, for sure. They wake up early, they push through resistance. But guess what? The person who chooses comfort, they suffer too. They suffer that slow, dull ache of knowing they had more to give. They suffer the most expensive pain a human can possibly carry, and that's regret. See, discipline is a heavy lift, yeah, but regret is a crushing, permanent weight. So if discipline is the answer, how do we actually build it? It's not about these grand, dramatic gestures. It's about the power of small, consistent, and frankly, pretty unglamorous daily actions. This is the principle Jim Rohn called the slight edge. It's this idea that the things you do every single day, the things that seem way too small to even matter, are actually the only things that ultimately do. They feel totally invisible in the moment, but they compound over time into a completely different life. Just think about this for a second. Reading just 10 pages a day. It feels like nothing, right? But after a year, that's 3,650 pages, which is roughly 12 books. After a decade, you've read 120 books in your field. Now, do you really think you'd have the same opportunities as someone who just stopped learning? No way. That's the slight edge at work. So here's the blueprint, and it's almost deceptively simple. Step 1, choose one small daily action. Just one. Don't go crazy. Step 2, commit to it for 30 days with no exceptions. Step 3, focus on consistency, not on perfection. And step 4, and this is the most important one, build trust with yourself. Because the goal here isn't really the activity itself, it's proving to yourself that you are someone who keeps the promises you make. That right there is the foundation of all success. And look, this is probably the most confronting truth of all. The philosophy you apply to making your bed in the morning, it's the exact same philosophy you apply to your career, to your finances, to your relationships. If you tell yourself the small things don't matter, trust me, that belief is going to show up everywhere. Okay, so let's reframe this whole idea. We've been taught to see discipline as some kind of punishment, like it's a cage. But it's the exact opposite. Discipline isn't what's holding you back, it is the absolute fastest path forward. Jim Rohn said that discipline is the bridge that takes you from where you are to where you want to be. An undisciplined life isn't free, it's just stuck on one side of the river, watching that bridge go unbuilt and calling that freedom. I mean, just look at the difference here. A life without discipline is just chaos. You're constantly reacting. You're always putting out fires and you're being pulled in 100 different directions by your every impulse. But a life with discipline, that's intentional. You're not a prisoner to your moods. You are in command. And here's a common myth we really need to bust. People think structure kills creativity. The truth is, it enables it. When your mind isn't totally overwhelmed with basic, everyday decisions, it's finally free to focus on the deep, innovative work that actually matters. So why is discipline freedom? It's because you finally build trust with yourself. You stop negotiating every single decision. You reclaim all that wasted mental energy. You start leading your life instead of letting your life lead you. And this creates the space, the mental and emotional room for your best self to actually show up. Ultimately, it just all comes back to this. Your future isn't defined by your big, dramatic moments. It's forged in the quiet, completely unremarkable choices that you make every single day, especially when no one is watching. So the takeaway here is crystal clear. Stop searching for a better plan. Stop waiting for inspiration or for the perfect time to show up. The fastest way to get where you want to go is to start right now with one small discipline and just stay consistent. Action beats strategy every single time, especially in the beginning. So I'll just leave you with this question. Look back at the last month, maybe the last year. How many of your hours were spent preparing and how many were spent executing? The answer to that question reveals everything about where you are right now and exactly what you need to do next.